Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Have you guys noticed Breaking Points is petrified of talking about trans issues? Like, I'm going to show you how media bias works right now. Because even in independent media exists colossal bias. The trick is learning where to look. Because news media can be like a magician, and a stealthy form of news bias is story selection. We got to pay attention to what's not being told to us and why. And Breaking Points won't tell us a thing about trans issues. They won't talk about it. Like, once I point this out, I'm not exaggerating, you guys are gonna be like, damn. So let's search Breaking Points transgender, and we get two videos. In context, they upload several videos a day, every day of the week, 3,800 videos, and 2 are about trans issues. And the first one is a con. It's not even them. Clip of Kyle Kalinske talking to Jordan Peterson for 10 minutes. In fact, I think the original video is from Kyle Kalinske's channel, not Breaking Points. And the second video, the only other video, is their Wednesday stand-ins, not Crystal and Sagar, not the main host, talking about trans issues for 6 minutes, 6 months ago. But maybe the YouTube search results aren't great. Let's take an undeniably topical news story that revolves around transgenderism. Let's YouTube search Breaking Points Dylan Mulvaney. Videos, 0. The first result is The Hill. The media publication they left to be independent is brave enough to talk about Dylan Mulvaney, but Crystal and Sagar are silent? The closest video you find to Breaking Points discussing trans issues is youth depression skyrockets. Maybe because transgender youths are getting bullied? Could that be part of it?
Too, that, some of the trends that we track here are really unique to the US. This one is actually not. This is actually pretty consistent with global rates of depression and anxiety, which I think also would fit with the idea that, the smartphone has been
crickets. A good starting question is, why? Now that we've noticed this massive omission, why won't Breaking Points talk about trans issues? What are they scared of? If you see this video, you should tweet at them, leave a comment on their video, and pester them why independent media is afraid to discuss the topic. I'm not saying Breaking Points has to cover Dylan Mulvaney or any specific news story. They're free to pick or admit any stories they like. But if they're going to repeatedly dodge a specific issue, transgenderism, we should ask why. Why does Breaking Points fear talking about anything transgender? Because Breaking Points has a bias towards their bottom line. Anything socially controversial that could affect their bottom line, they're biased against. They'll talk about Ukraine and bring in doves to say the US involvement isn't worth it. They'll have on RFK. They'll endlessly talk about abortion, but none of those issues are perceived as polarizing to them by internet brains as transgender issues. And they know their audience is internet brained. To highlight just how much Breaking Points is avoiding talking about trans issues, openly social conservative commentator Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire essentially made Dylan Mulvaney the black hole for the intersection of gender and capitalism across the nation a month ago. It's newsworthy. It was newsworthy. It still is newsworthy. And where is the reporting from Crystal and Sagar? It doesn't exist. If the premise of Breaking Points is Sagar is a conservative, Crystal is a liberal, where is the reporting on Dylan Mulvaney? Where is the reporting on J.K. Rowling? Where is the reporting on the Biden administration and diversity, equity, inclusion with trans issues? Where is the reporting on trans issues? I don't know why Breaking Points won't talk about it other than they're afraid to. I could speculate that Crystal has 0 issue with Dylan Mulvaney. It's Sagar who does not want to wade into the debate. Sagar's got this cool conservative, hip to the working class persona, and he doesn't want to alienate his fans by pointing out the simple fact that either a true conservative is libertarian and therefore what Dylan Mulvaney or anyone chooses to do with their gender identification is nobody's business, or Sagar's a social conservative, which in America means that the state intervenes to protect the Judeo-Christian paradigm of sex and gender and guard the nation's morality. Either way, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear Breaking Points debate the issue, but no, they won't touch it. The conscious absence of discussion is just as salient as active debate on a topic. And I
don't hear a thing. Just silence.
I like Breaking Points. I watch some of their clips online. I think their discourse is good, but viewers need to be shown bias when it's apparent. And Breaking Points avoiding trans issues entirely is straight up news bias. It's just a shame that Breaking Points, the self-styled independent media crusaders, are too cowardly to talk about one of the largest issues in America because they're afraid of alienating their audience. I would have expected better from them. I mean, now that you know they won't talk about the issue, don't you want to hear their take on it even more? Do they have some wacky views on trans issues that they don't want us to know about? What's going on other than the fact that they're afraid to talk about trans issues? And if you're going to dislike this video or call me a coward because I'm not disclosing my own views on trans issues, one, I don't run a daily news show endlessly soliciting money from contributors to be independent while swerving large political topics the size of continents like trans issues. And two, fine, I'll tell you my beliefs, I have no shame. I am not a trans activist. I find Dave Chappelle hilarious, but I'm a vociferous believer in trans rights and a defender of a person's ability to choose the gender they identify with. I believe people when they say they were born identifying with the opposite gender. I do not believe it is a sin or a mental illness, and I think to feel otherwise is dismissive and reductive of history and science. I think throughout history there has always been trans men and women, from Roman emperors to Ernest Hemingway's daughter to Elon Musk's son. And that number has remained constant and stable throughout society, no different than 9% of people are left-handed like me. We are merely getting a more accurate, full accounting of how many people are really trans as society's Overton window expands and it explores pre-Judeo-Christian ideas of sex. Every trans man or woman I have met has been kind, thoughtful, and of sincere intention. And I am vastly more bothered by men like Matt Walsh, who monetize another person's life while advancing their beliefs, simultaneously profiting and dehumanizing another person like Dylan Mulvaney, than I am with Dylan Mulvaney identifying as a man or a woman. Those are my beliefs. The question is, what are breaking points? I thought independent media was independent. 2 videos out of 3,800. They're scared of trans issues. Cowards.